it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. Okay, so this is a very interesting message, and I'm not entirely sure why this is coming through because to me, this just seems like a series of traits, like personality traits, quirks, characteristics. It's like they want me to describe a person to you, like describe a person's personality to you. And I'm not sure why that's coming through, and I'm not sure where this reading is going to go. And I just heard, I don't know where this relationship is going to go. But we're just going to follow this. So, they're showing me a spiral in my mind, and I think that's because you're confused. Okay, so that's probably why we're looking at this person's personalities, because you're confused about this person's personality and about their like blend of traits that doesn't readily make sense to you. But also I'm confused in the way this reading is kind of coming at me. So I feel like you and this person could both be confused about each other. And also that word spiral, I'm hearing spiraling. So there's something about this person's energy that could have sent you spiraling, possibly on more than one occasion, where you could have spiraled like maybe out of control with your behavior or spiraled mentally. But I do feel like somehow this person has got you up in your head. Like going around and around, turning their energy over and over in your head. I just heard the word uppity. So somebody here could think the other person is uppity, but I feel like maybe that's been proven false, or like it's not the case, something here like that. But now they're showing me this spiral and it's like deepening. So I feel like that's the purpose of this message. They want to give you a deeper understanding of this person and their personality traits, but also potentially of yourself. There's a lot of mirroring that's going on here in this particular connection, but they also want to give you a deeper understanding of what went on here between the two of you. And then they're giving me the word misunderstanding, like very loud and strong and bold, and it's in all caps and very bold print. There's been some kind of big, bold misunderstanding here, and it's presenting as like a blockage, almost like a wall. And I feel like there was an actual misunderstanding between the two of you, like something that's going on in the world that's like an actual misunderstanding. But I can see the root cause of that understanding was a previous misunderstanding about this person's natural base personality, like who they actually are. And again, there's a lot of mirroring here. So this person may have done this with you as well. But I think what happened in this situation, and this is nothing like specific to you, our brains tend to do this as like a calorie saving function. But I feel like early on in your relationship, for some of you, but this also could have been later on, if you've known this person for a while, I think if that's the case though, that you know this person from a particular place or a particular life arena, it's like, okay, well, you've worked with this person for 10 years, but you really only know them from work. So that's far from like a holistic picture of like a full human being, you know? So it's like some kind of incomplete information. But at some point, your brain kind of shoved this person into a category, and our brains love to do that, and then relates to the category rather than the actual like living, breathing person in front of us. And we just don't have enough energy to be able to relate to our world in anything else other than doing that. So I'm not trying to blame you, but I can see that the category was wrong. Like it was just not true to who this person is. So I think this person did something or said something or behaved in a way that defied that category that you had put this person in. And that confused you, got you up in your head. I think a lot of you read that as a betrayal or some kind of trickery or manipulation. And you got really suspicious of this person. And again, like you got really up in your head. And this person also may have done that with you. And again, I'm hearing like that word uppity. But I feel like this could be kind of a sad tale because this misunderstanding energy I don't think is natural. I think I think there's actually a lot of reciprocity here where actually you and this person kind of are the same, or you're getting at the same things, or you want the same things, or you have the same values, or you even could actually present very similarly. But I feel like what's caused all of the confusion here is that this person has presented somehow, and I don't know. It could be in their personality. So this person has showed two very different sides to themselves, or they have traits and characteristics that you do not view as compatible. Like in your mind, you've never seen those traits coexist in a person before. But for some of you, this person is a thinker. They're very social, and they're also a thinker. So I feel like that is causing some level of the confusion here. But it could be that they presented an argument to you, or like some kind of worldview, or they have like certain beliefs or practices or something, and you view those traits as just being fundamentally incompatible. they're not, though. Like on a fundamental level, I can see that they're not, and I can see that you can sense that they're not. And so there's something about this person's energy that keeps drawing you back in. And I'm hearing sacred misunderstanding now. This has been some kind of sacred misunderstanding. Again, possibly on both sides. Because I feel like having to process this person's energy and the difference in this person, in the something here that you don't feel like goes together. I feel like it's within this person, but also potentially you feel like, oh, well, that just doesn't jive with me, here as well, or like this person's just like very different from me, we don't go together kind of thing. Having to process that, chew on that, is actually an initiation. It is some kind of initiation to some kind of higher worldview or perspective, and that could be overall, like it's training you again, and there's mirroring here, so potentially this other person as well, to look at life from a higher perspective. I just heard, bring me a higher love, or it could be like whatever space this person's agitating for you, to look at that particular field or that particular problem or that particular or people, that kind of person in general, like from some kind of elevated perspective. But it's through this very like interactive process, because there's like a mystery to this person and a curiosity about this person, even if it's like a morbid curiosity, and it keeps drawing you back in. And I think you've had moments within yourself where, just to give your brain a rest or to feel settled in your soul, I think that you've wanted to just write this person off as a hypocrite. But it's only ever been a temptation in you. And I actually think that speaks very highly of you, because I feel like that's too sloppy of like thinking. And I don't think that you're a sloppy thinker. And I think that you know that that's just you kind of writing it off and not actually, that there's something here. You can sense it. You can sense that there's some kind of thing that you're missing about this person, and you are, I think, very naturally curious. The other thing is that whether you want to admit it to yourself or not, I do think in your heart of hearts that this is a very good egg. This is a good person. This person has good, solid character. You know that on some level. And I think there's a trust here in this person where, even though you don't understand their process or what they're trying to show you or how they present, there is a trust and a respect here actually for this person on a lot of levels. Like you respect something about their journey or their process, or that it's like higher. So writing this person off just doesn't feel right to you. And that's very good, because this is like some kind of initiation. And I can see here that where you're like, no, this doesn't go together, this doesn't make sense. To this person, it absolutely makes sense. And Spirit is saying, it does make sense. Like there is a perspective here. There's something that you're missing. And I'm hearing that quote from Albert Einstein that says, a problem cannot be solved on the same level of consciousness which created it. So again, this is a call to elevating for, I think, both of you. It could be that this person is helping you to solve a problem. Like this could be somebody that you have hired, like a consultant or something, to help you solve a problem. And they're telling you information, they're guiding you, they're trying to get you to look at something like, well, we need to do this before Friday, because if we don't, then this could happen, and you're like, no, that doesn't sit right. It could be that this person's trying to help you solve a problem, but they're kind of ruffling your feathers here. But it also could be that this person kind of presents as the problem. Like I'm seeing Spirit kind of throw this person as like a pebble in your shoe, and it's like you've got to decipher this pebble, and it feels very agitating, or it's presenting as a problem, and it's like, if I could just get this freaking pebble out my shoe, then I could just walk normally again, and wouldn't that be nice? It's like you crave that, but Spirit is like, no, you've got to kind of deal with this. So, and we've all been in that kind of situation before, where you can't solve that problem on the same level that which created it, and usually you realize that you're in that space because you keep running back and forth on the seesaw. Like you'll get a new piece of information and you're like, I knew it, and then you run to one extreme and you're like, it's this, and then you hit that whack-a-mole down, and then the other whack-a-mole, wouldn't you know it, just pops up on the other side, and you're like, wait a minute, and you run over there and you're like, I knew it, it's because it's actually this, and then you hit that whack-a-mole, and then the other one comes back up again, and you just keep running back and forth. So clearly it's not one or the other, and I feel like there's something that you're doing with this person where you're trying to categorize them into like one or the other. Are you this or that? And I think that this or that, I just heard this and that can be true. But the this or that has to do with this, like these opposite traits, or like that you're clustering with, like, I don't know, drawing some kind of conclusion. But once you pop up into a higher level of understanding and you see from that bird's eye view, you can see the landscape better. I'm hearing like, oh, there's this other element that I didn't factor in before. And actually, when I realized that variable is a part of the equation, it changes the entire landscape. It changes the entire premise. And that's when, oh, this actually does make sense, when you recognize like this person's, I just heard purity, but also like their perspective here. And For some of you, it's because this person has like for some of you, it's like a personality thing with this person, like the way that they come across in the world, the values that they have, the groups that they hang out with, so, something here like that. But for others of you, it's something that they are trying, like this person could have a deep knowledge about like a certain skill or a certain field, and it's something that they're trying to explain to you, but it's like this person has a very complex, like thorough knowledge of whatever that is, and it would be something base fundamental to like, this is how we apply the knowledge in this arena. I hope that makes sense. Like take debate, for instance. There's a certain agreement that you have to have in order to step into a debate arena and actually to be able to fulfill that. That's probably a bad example because most people think about like debates probably from like presidential elections and stuff, but that's not actual debate culture. It's not actually the art of debate, and they're not actually held to like the standards of a true debate. But like what I mean by that is a true debate is not about winning. It's not about one person winning. It's about the truth winning. And it's about that higher perspective that when the truth wins, we all win. So yes, you fight hard in the debate, you do your research and you come prepared. But it's because if you don't fight your hardest, then we might lose the truth. Somebody could slip in a logical fallacy, or just something is just not caught and ironed out, and it leads us to the wrong conclusion, and none of us want to be led to the wrong conclusion. But that's when everybody here is loyal to the truth. But if you've got one person step up to the podium loyal to the truth, with that higher perspective, you got another person step up to the podium with a desire to just win. You know, I'm going to be using logical fallacies. I'm going to pull the lower punches just because I want to walk out this arena the victor. That person actually has a lower level of perspective, you know? And then they're like, when nobody wants to debate them, they're like, well, no, why does nobody want to debate me? You know, like I'm capable of debate because you say something into the microphone and then I say something. And to me, that's what debating is. But to somebody loyal to the art of the debate and the function of the debate, you can't agree to step into that ring with somebody if they're not loyal to the truth, if they're not willing to screen their behavior because they're loyal to the truth. They have that higher purpose, that higher shared purpose. You know, it's just a waste of time. It's just an exercise in, you know, this person trying to defend their ego or something. I hope that makes sense. So for some of you, it has something more to do with that. Now, getting into this person's personality, okay? Because I feel like for a lot of you, this person presented in two very different ways. And I think that I'm hearing the word ambivert very loudly. This is an ambivert. So, or that's a metaphor, but I strongly believe that for a lot of you, you're looking at an ambivert. So that's like, are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? You know, do you recharge in groups and around other people, or do you recharge alone, you know, as an introvert? And this person's like, yes, yes, I do both, right? Ambiverts exist. And maybe you've just never met a person like this before. So when you see this person, and maybe you have, and this person is out and they're with their friends and they're very social, because I do feel like this person's very social. And also, it's not just that this person's social, they're good at it. This person has like a social fluidity. They're very adept. They're very good in a social situation. They're skilled, you know, very socially skilled. And you know that they like it. And you know that they like get down in a social situation, right? So you've seen that side of them. And I actually feel like that's what causes a lot of this misunderstanding with this person, that this person is actually very social. And I'm hearing like for a lot of people, but I can see, because I think this person, I wouldn't say that they confuse a lot of people, or like there's this misunderstanding with a lot of people, but it certainly happens. And I feel like when it happens, it's because of this like social side to them that people don't know how to process, or they don't know what to do with, right? And I don't know if because some people can catch this person on their introverted side, where this person is like more, and it could be where they don't actually vibe with a certain group of people. So they actually feel like, you know, I'm going to tuck in and I'm going to recharge this way or something. And then they feel betrayed or something when they see this person being very, I just heard like kind of a social butterfly energy with other people. And they're like, this is a lie. And it's not a lie. This person just like expresses differently. And they have these two very genuine sides of their character. This is very Gemini. I feel like some of you could be dealing with a Gemini or somebody with strong Gemini in their chart. It's that yes and energy. But Geminis, a lot of times you will have like a social Gemini where they're very just good socially. That's how that Gemini will present. But also there's the brainy Gemini where they're just a nerd. They're like a straight up nerd. And usually like they kind of lead with one or the other, but I feel like this person has both sides. Like they're a brain. That's another thing with this person. So they're socially adept, but they're also a brain. So if you present something that has like a logical fallacy or something, or it's not adding up, I feel like this person will know it and they'll clock it. But because they're socially intelligent, they don't always reveal what they know. And that is a reflection of their social intelligence. It's not that they're trying to trick anybody. It's just their social intelligence. They're trying to see who you are, sort of a thing. And I'm seeing this person very open about that. You know, it's like they're not they are kind of shoving you, I'm seeing a question mark over your head, like, well, this is just something I'm going to hold on to kind of thing. But that's a reflection of like, they have a strong capability for logic and logos and finding patterns and recognizing things. And I think that some people get the wrong idea about that because this person is social. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I think this person's social side kind of really throws people, because some people see people who are social or like social butterflies, like, oh, well, they can't be smart or brains, or they can't be intelligent. Yeah, some people here I think are very loyal to like archetypes of the brainy, isolated nerd, and the cool social jock. But this person has this weird blend, and it just comes out, and this person doesn't see a problem with it. Like, this person's just like, I don't know, this is just the way that I am. Sometimes I feel this way. Sometimes I feel that way. Sometimes like around certain people, I don't really fit in, or I just don't feel understood or something. So I just kind of tuck away. That's that social intelligence as well. I'm hearing also like, I feel like I would be misunderstood. So, or I feel like I'm tolerated, and I'm, so I just kind of tuck away over here kind of thing. There's a mix of those two energies. But I think sometimes people can feel betrayed by that, because they could see this person being very reciprocal, like with some people, and then other times like they need space. And I think sometimes maybe this person takes space because they recognize some kind of logical, something's not adding up. So then this person will actually pull their energy back. The other thing that I'm getting is that this person is very, again, like with this social fluidity, they're showing me that this person, the way they interact socially, it's actually, this person is just very socially intelligent. But they're showing me a crystal, okay? So you know how crystals, like they have certain properties, okay? An amethyst is known for like having these qualities, and it does this. An obsidian does this. Selenite does that. Like quartz does, whatever. So they're showing me that this person's kind of a crystal in the room, where they kind of do emit some kind of like subtle, very positive energy. And I think it's probably different for all of these people. Like, is this person an amethyst? Is this person a quartz? Are they a selenite? What do they do? I don't know. But they have that kind of quality, like a crystal in the room, where and I'm hearing like, think back to like when this person is around you. I think you would feel a subtle difference. There's something very subtle about the effect that this person has that people misunderstand, because this person does a lot of work behind the scenes, and that's on multiple levels. And it's because of this person's intelligence, and it's because of their social ability. The other thing is that this person is not boastful. So they're social, and they might get a lot of attention or something, but this person doesn't run on attention, and they're not boastful. They just are doing things because they like to do it, and they like people, and they want people to be well and like to do well. And I think this shows up in their work ethic is what I'm hearing as well. So again, that with that nerd kind of quality with this person, it's a sign of how much they love people and how cooperative they are. And things just go smoother around this person. But people don't necessarily put together that it's coming from this person, because they're not boastful. They're just extremely helpful. They're cooperative. They like to help out, but they do a lot behind the scenes. This is energetically. There is some kind of energetic component, whether this person even knows about it or not. I feel like this person can actually get very socially drained. It's giving empath. And that's also why sometimes this person gets overwhelmed and they've got to tuck themselves away, and they might not even necessarily realize it, because they could just, maybe they get around a certain person and it's like they feel drained. But like the thing is, they'll never ever say it. And it's because I feel like this person is socially polite or something like that. But also, if this is a work situation, this is the person, they have an intellect, okay? So they pick up on patterns. They are really good with systems is what I'm getting. Because I'm seeing this person manage multiple systems. And that could be a part of their job function, where it's like they have to interact with the HR department. They have to interact with the crew that's coming to fix the this or the that. So they have like this kind of innate skill of like being able to figure out how systems work. But not only that, they understand almost intuitively like what the priority is within that system, like what the joint is. Like, okay, everything running smoothly here, we have to protect this thing above all else. But if we have to make some adjustments, which we will, because everything's kind of fluid and always moving, then we can change this or we can change that. So this person like has this kind of natural quality, but all of this is like very behind the scenes. This person's processing a lot behind the scenes. But I feel like this is also the person, because they have that natural ability. So they're intelligent with the logic and the patterns and picking up what kind of needs to be done. And they're also very like socially cooperative. This is the person that does a million little things behind the scenes that people take for granted and they don't actually pick up on, is the reason why things run smoother and go faster whenever they're around, whenever this person's around. And I'm strongly getting a work scenario. It's like when this person's on shift, things go better. And it's because they're doing this. And but people don't necessarily tie it back to this person's presence, but it's coming from this person. And the other thing is this person's social fluidity, because this person is kind of the canary in the coal mine. They're very sensitive, actually, like socially. They notice the change in temperature or the change in attitude within a person before anybody else does. But again, if this person was negative, believe me, you would know it. There wouldn't be confusion in your mind about it, because this person would be the king or queen of Sheba, and everybody would fear them and they would bow to them, and this person would kind of reign with an iron fist that would be undeniable. Okay, so because you're confused about this person, it's because this person has a power. And they exert that power, I feel like, naturally when they need to, but it's not selfish. That's what it is. This person has a power, and they are kind of the power in the room, especially socially, but they're not selfish with that power, and they will exert their influence here, but it's for the betterment of the group. It really is towards the betterment of the group. And again, people don't pick up on that, because I think sometimes they will feel this person flex up a little bit, and they're like, usually, I think some of these people are just used to, and that could be another dichotomy. This person will flex up their power, but it's not for selfish reasons. It's actually for the betterment of the group. It's a very pro-social quality that this person has. And it's because they have that canary in the coal mine. So I'm seeing this person, again, that's part of that when I'm seeing them as a crystal, but I'm also seeing this person like doing Tai Chi. So they understand energy, especially like social energy, the way that it's coming off of people and the way that it's moving. They just naturally do this. I feel like, this person it's so natural and ingrained with this person that they probably, if you brought this to their attention, they'd be like, so you don't do that? Everybody doesn't do that? Like, it's so infused with them, like whatever this person does. So they understand energy very well, the energy that's coming off of people and how it's going to affect the group, etc. So they'll pick up on like a negativity. They'll pick up on a sourpuss in the group, somebody who's trying to throw negative energy in the works because they're jealous or because they're trying to control the situation for their own benefit, or what. This person will pick up on it very naturally. But also, this person is so adept at just kind of Tai Chiing this person out of the way. And it is power. Don't get me wrong, it's power. But they're not boastful, and they're not locking horns with this person. It's just such a display of power, and it's such a display of intellect, but it's towards the benefit of the group. It's very, it's not about this person, and they'll just kind of naturally do it. So I just heard, notice that things just tend to flow smoother when this person is around. And it's because this person will kind of do this naturally and almost before it's registered by the group or before it becomes a problem. So other people that are very sensitive in the group might be like, oh, we're about to like head off, and these people I'm also hearing like might have trauma. So they bristle up because they're like, oh, this reminds me of like my mom and dad fighting in the kitchen. Here we go. And they'll start to hold their breath. But whenever this person's around, this person will just kind of naturally just Tai Chi that energy just out of the way. And it's not a big eruption and it's not a big explosion. But also if something needs to be directly pointed out, this person will directly point it out. But it is because of their social graces here that I feel like they kind of do present that negative energy whenever it's around. And it rises up in all of us sometimes. Like we can all be a little pill, but they just kind of present that energy with an option, a peaceful option, They actually kind of offer this person a cover, Oh, well, I'm sure you didn't really mean that, It's kind of, that's the subtext. I'm sure you didn't really mean it that way. I'm sure you weren't trying to be aggressive. I'm sure you weren't trying to flick somebody in the face. But because of that, like this person, because of all the things that this person does behind the scenes, energetically and in preparation, because this is also the kind of like boss or leader that does so much of the mental work behind the scenes in order to, again, they're so good with systems. So they unpack like how the system runs, and they just, so they can kind of feed it to somebody on a plate to help them understand. They softball energy to other people, and it gives these other, like certain other people that aren't very maybe deep or like self-reflective, it gives them the wrong impression of themselves actually. And I don't think this person realizes that they have that effect. It makes people around them think that they're better than they actually are. And that could be like at their job, or that they're better than they actually are as people, because when they're around this person, they haven't gotten into 17 fights that they usually get in. And so they're like, wow, I'm really doing a lot better. When really the credit kind of goes to this person, but it's so subtle. And it's like this person, if you're around this person for a prolonged period of time in a certain arena, it might allow you to get into a better groove, like a better pattern within yourself, to where it kind of changes your self-concept without you almost even realizing that that's what it's done. So yeah, that'll start flowing into, this is giving like rehabilitation, like some kind of spiritual teacher or rehabilitation energy that kind of works through this person. And so it changes people kind of like subtly over time. But this person can also I think people can get uppity around this person. People can get they're actually resentful. There's certain people that actually get resentful around this person because they wrongly believe like that something is like that the changes or something, it's like coming from them. Like, we're actually so good at like running as a team. Like, we really don't need this person. Or like, I don't know why this person is da-da-da. Meanwhile, this person's doing 75% of the work. These people have convinced themselves that doing 25% of the work is them bringing their full like share to the table, and it isn't. So they have this wrong impression of themselves, and therefore they have a wrong impression of this person. On some level though, they sense the kind of understated greatness in this person, and that this person is actually bringing a lot to the table, but they're just not boastful about it. And so they get resentful and they get jealous, and it makes them want to attack. But if you remove this person, I think everything kind of goes to shit. Like, but again, it's so subtle. This person's energy is so subtle, their effect, and it's because they're not boastful. So I feel like this person's actually easily overthrown. And this could also be where some of you guys are getting very confused about like who this person is, because for some of you, you've got a choice between two. Like, okay, well, who is this person compared to who this person is? And it's like you need to know who one person is to understand who the other person is in your life. Because one of these people, I think, took a shot at the other one, basically. And you don't know who's telling the truth, maybe. But for others of you, I think this could be you. Like, you can't understand your energy fully unless you understand who this person is. And you could be justifying your behavior towards this person because you've misunderstood them, like fundamentally kind of a thing. But I think for some, it's like, this person gets easily overthrown by a belligerent energy. Not easily overthrown, but I think in other people's minds, kind of a grandiose personality. Somebody who actually doesn't bring a lot to the table. They don't bring a lot of nuance or subtlety. They're not cooperative. They're not doing a million things behind the scenes, but they just have this overinflated sense of self. And they're going around telling everybody how great they are. And they try to cast this person in a negative light just because this person doesn't have like a PR machine for themselves. They're not going around saying like, I changed the coffee filter and I spent 4 hours last night creating this like little cheat sheet for the new trainees that are coming in. They're not like running that PR campaign because they're trying not to make it about themselves. It's really like a gift. It's an offering like from this person. But because they don't have that PR machine, and then they have a belligerent energy that's upset, like self-obsessed, and maybe just wants their position. They want the power. They want this to be the center of attention. Then somebody here like just kind of does nothing but squawk. And they don't actually bring much to the table. And actually, they're kind of a hypocrite. They're the hypocrite. So for some of you, I'm going to be very honest. I think for some of you, you're realizing there's quite a bit of denial here. There's a denial for somebody maybe comparing themselves to this person about who they were. Like they were a hypocrite in this situation. Or they were quick to judge this person, and it was because they were in denial about something that this person highlights within themselves. I think some of you are having that experience, and that's probably very hard to go through, but I'm just going to set that over to the side. Very normal, very human experience. I just heard, and be grateful for it, because this is the kind of thing that is shadow work, and it's what elevates us. That's the promise of this connection, is some kind of like elevation, right? But there's another group of you where I feel like you exalted a belligerent energy over this person. Somebody that was just like, I'm the greatest, but they don't really actually bring a lot to the table. And you could have taken that person's side, or you could have been very reciprocal with a very belligerent energy in harming this other person. And I think there could be quite a bit of denial about that. Denial being the energy where it's like you could have avoided this person or certain circumstances or certain people that have a side of the equation or a perspective that might reveal that there's more going on here. Or you could have just... Yeah, it's like there would be a hard truth here for you to have to accept the nuance and the subtlety here of this person, and that they actually do make sense, and that they actually maybe have some kind of elevated perspective on life or on themselves or on some particular arena here that you would greatly benefit from. But there needs to be an apology here. I kind of feel that. I think there needs to be amends made. And Spirit is saying, some of you think that the spiritual journey is about you, and it is a lot about you, but it's also about other people and the way that we have impacted other people. And I'm hearing, if you never had to confront this hard truth about yourself or about this other person and the role that you played in harming this other person who's actually very great and destined for some kind of leadership position, that they're working on behalf of God, and to oppose this energy is to oppose the good works that higher spiritual energy is trying to bring into the world, and the way in which it's comfortable bringing it in. Spirit doesn't want a belligerent energy bringing it in for obvious reasons, right? Because that's not what it's about. And you have to be able to kind of demonstrate that spiritual energy. And I just heard, if you never had to confront this, because some of you are like, okay, well, this is difficult, so why do I have to look at this like I'm a good person now, or I'm better now, like let's just move on. It's not all about you, babe. It's not all about you. You've hurt somebody here, and you either participated in this, and you've got to suck out the negative energy that you put all around this person. And I think, like, I'm hearing, how are you ever going to make amends? That should be your focus. How am I going to make amends for this situation? How am I going to right my wrong with this person? Because we are also an organism called humanity. Like, we are each individuals, but we're part of another greater organism that's called, humanity. And we affect each other. Our energies affect each other. And there's been an injustice in the way that this person has been viewed and spoken about and treated. And you need to suck the poison out. And for some of you, have a direct way of being able to do that while respecting this person. Because if you harmed this person, you have to respect that they may not want to hear you. But if you lied on this person, or if you supported a lie about this person, like in a work environment, some of you need to go back and you need to remove that lie from the work environment, or you need to not be boastful or proud in your energy. You've got to be willing to say, I messed up. And there is no excuse. I'm seeing at the end of Moana where, Maui is apologizing to Te Fiti, which this person could be Te Fiti, And so that's another thing. For some of you, it's like this person was Te Fiti and everybody was valuing her heart. That's exactly the energy here. That's this beautiful heart this person has, and it causes everything to grow around them. This is like an empress heart, and everybody covets it. And they're like, well, if I could just steal that heart, then I would have it. And ba ba ba. But all that ends up happening is death and destruction spreads everywhere, because it's this person's heart that they have cultivated, and that's the right energy to channel it, kind of a thing, But after Maui sets about making it right, because that's the process of forgiveness, that's the process of amends, and I feel like there's a grieving here, of grieving like a false worldview that perhaps you had about yourself. Join the club, right? We all have gone through this. This is what actual spirituality is. Somebody who's truly spiritual, it's people like this, people who take accountability for their actions. And they're like, yeah, I'm not always like a perfect person, But after that, when he apologizes to Te Fiti, he says, I'm really sorry. There's no excuse for my actions here. It was just objectively wrong. And I think some of you need to get to a place where you're able to do that and hold yourself accountable. And possibly break ties with people who fed this delusion in you, or like a way of thinking. This is also an introduction into the way that your mind works. And I go to Ramana Maharshi, who is my teacher, and he says the mind is an obstacle on the path to liberation. So there's some kind of liberating energy here when you can finally kind of relate to the truth of this situation. But I think some of you, it's this denial energy, this ego defense mechanism. You're realizing how strong that impulse can be. And I'm hearing even in the tarot, the truth will kind of come through, but it has to come through that lens of denial. The truth is always there. So when you're saying what resonates or something, if you're in a strong state of ego defense, you got to take ownership of that even as well. If you're in denial, and when somebody is presenting the truth to you and you're like, I'm not even going to consider that. And then also I'm going to demonize and blame you because you said something that hurt my ego and it ruffled my feathers a little bit. And I don't want to look at it, and then you're pushing that wrongness off onto everybody else instead of considering wait a second, maybe there's another perspective for me to look at. For some of you, I feel like this is an introduction into the way that your own mind can delude you, how powerful that can be, and how the mind can be an enemy. And how we have to be willing and skillful in the way that we interact with that. Because you can't just choose not to have a mind. You have to know what it is. You have to be able to know how it behaves sometimes, to know what its strengths are and its weaknesses are. And to know how to question yourself and your own version of events. So there's higher lessons that are going on here. And believe it or not, this is the goal. This is the higher spiritual nugget that your guides are really hoping that you can take away from the situation. I feel a ball was fumbled here around this energy, where you could have participated with people that wanted to alienate this person, or that wanted to sever them from their own energy, from the fruits of their own labor that people didn't want to acknowledge really did come from this person. And that this person just wasn't actually boastful. But I feel like some people were trying to make this person seem like they were the belligerent one, or that they were all about attention or something. But actually, this person's kind of not motivated by that. I don't know. But all of this to say that there's been a misunderstanding here. There's actually a lot of reciprocity. I think you both want the same things. It could be that you and this person are totally, entirely different kinds of people from each other, and you have very different experiences and backgrounds, but actually you work very similarly. And I also think that this is showing you a new way of building friendships. And kind of climbing out of that primordial soup. All of us as like a collective, I feel like we're elevating like as a collective. And this is flashing me back to, I heard in a podcast, this man was saying that throughout most of human history, humans have formed bonds based on shared gods, shared enemies, and shared blood. So it's kind of, they're very binding together, but that's like, I trust you because we're kind of on the same team. So even if you don't like me or something like that, like I trust you not to betray our shared blood and our shared enemy. Like we have that common otherness, that we can bond together. But this connection is not like that at all. Bring me a higher love. Oh, because you might not have those things with this person, but you are very similar and you actually do want the same things. I'm also hearing the word logos, right? And so this person's like interesting with patterns. So it could be, I'm kind of seeing people from two different tribes that have like never had contact before, You guys, it's like you speak a different language, but like once you decode the language, you can kind of realize that you're saying the same thing. But it's like if these two tribes, had lived for thousands of years and they'd never had contact with each other, they have made sense of the same earth, the same energies, just in different ways, but, and so as they're trying to meet up and they're trying to have this conversation about whatever this is, one person's saying, it's like if two tribes are essentially trying to paint the same picture of a vase, let's say, and one person says, start at the bottom right corner. And the other person says, no, we got to start at the upper left corner. And it's like, oh, well, we must not have the same vision. And so people are going to like start having misunderstandings, roadblocks, everybody's hackles are going up here. But it really, at the end of the day, you're painting the same picture of the same vase. You just have a different process and a different way of getting there. And I think you're seeing that in this other person. You actually have a lot more in common than you do different. It's just the words that this person uses or the way that they frame things is different than you. But it's actually the same as you, the heart of it, when you can listen to the heart of it. And I feel like that's what you're learning how to do. It's this deeper energy. So this spiral energy that you've been in around this person, it's actually initiating you into a deeper level of understanding about life and about this certain kind of person, or to where you're getting, because for some of you, this is like, this person represents a certain kind of person that maybe you've been prejudiced towards, or you've been taught to believe a certain way about. And actually you see yourself in this person. You kind of recognize, oh my gosh, you're saying literally the same thing that I'm saying. I studied religion for 2 years in school. I had this epiphany. Every single religion that we would study, they sort everything entirely differently, but somehow they're saying the exact same thing. It's the same thing with astrology. There's different astrology systems. Vedic astrology, Western astrology, totally different. Tell me how I can be a Leo over here and a Gemini over here. Well, it wouldn't be that. A Leo over here and a Cancer over here, let's say. But yet, both of these ring so true. It's because the whole picture of that astrology system is painting the whole picture of you. It's just saying it in a different way. And that's what religions are. That's what culture is. That's, and I feel like that's what I feel you feel like you've been lied to, and you have, but it's by a prejudice, that maybe was inflicted in you by somebody that you trusted that maybe didn't know what they were talking about. They didn't have firsthand experience themselves or whatever. So I feel like this reading has gone on forever, but this is a sacred misunderstanding is what I'm hearing. The point of this connection is some kind of sacred misunderstanding that will lead you back to your heart, and it will lead you back to the fullness and the wholeness of God is what I just heard. And it will bring you back to a reciprocal energy with the right people, because I think you've been creating karmic relationships and fostering and prizing karmic relationships because you have shared enemies, there's a phrase that says the fastest, cheapest way to make a friend is to demonize a common other. Very low vibrational, but it'll work though. And it's very binding. That's that shared God, shared enemies, shared blood. And I know that a lot of you have families the same way I do. And just because somebody's in your family doesn't mean that they're a good person, and that you should always have their back or something. But it's like you found in this person someone who's family in a different way. This is like soul family, And it's like you found your way back to this person. You actually have you understand each other on a certain level. And I'm just going to say it again. This connection is bringing you back to God in some way, the fullness and the wholeness of God. And I just heard blessed be, praise be, hallelujah. This is a real win that God defies this characterization. Similar to this person. This is a quality of God, actually. We all reflect qualities of God, in my opinion. But this is a quality of God that this person reflects back, this defiance of categorization. And you could have been frustrated with this person. Like, well, I should just be easily able to shove you in a category. But this person defies your categorization system because it's based on your worldview, that is incorrect and needs updating. And all of our worldview is incorrect, limited, and needs updating, and we go in and out of periods of changing that, at least if somebody's healthy, and truly open to what the truth is. We all make these kind of adjustments. This person is a major adjustment. This is like a spiritual adjustment for you, where they're just reflecting the limitation of your worldview and where you're actually incorrect. And you have an opportunity to make right, not only in your own mind, but also potentially with this person. But some of you have been very stubborn with this person and you have no right to, because I feel like some of you were in denial about like potentially yourself and potentially somebody else that you partnered with that's of this like lower vibrational nature of like, well, we have a shared common enemy and we decided it's you, but this is a beautiful person. And if we're all, have you ever heard that phrase, judge me by my enemies? It doesn't bode well to have an enemy like this person. Like it doesn't reflect well. You know what I'm saying? I think you're starting to realize that. Like, why is this person your enemy? And it's for this kind of like, for no reason other than the shared blood, shared God, and shared enemies. It's label. It's very veneer, actually. You and this person get along more. This is like a true Islam or a Muslim and like a true Christian, somebody who actually applies themselves to their faith. Like, and it has this purifying, like they have more in common than somebody who's like very hypocritical about their Muslim faith and someone who's very hypocritical about their Christian faith. Yeah, they might be sitting in the pew with you, or they might be at the mosque, on their mat or whatever, but they're just going through the motions, where you actually, because both of you, what you have in common is that you both have actually dedicated yourself to a system. And God is so big, and God speaks all languages. If someone prays in Spanish or if someone prays in English, God can hear. Same thing if someone prays in Muslim and someone prays in Christian, God can hear. Because it's about the energy. And God meets us where we're at. And some of us need other things. So you're having this like new kind of, you're popping up, you're elevating in your understanding. And I think some of you are going to be called on to help foster this perspective, because for some of you, people listen to you, or they will listen to you. And because you understand your own limitations, you've bumped up against it and you've overcome this in yourself. I think that I just heard you're going to oppose bigots. Like, I just feel just naturally in your energy, like, knock it off, kind of thing. If you really follow God, I don't understand why you're so hateful. It clearly hasn't worked for you, this system. Maybe you should try another system. Not you. I think that's going to be your energy towards these other people. Like, calling out the true hypocrites. Because it's too psychologically comfortable for you to think this person's a hypocrite, but you know that they're not. But I think it's actually, if you can understand what this person's putting down, I think the actual true hypocrites around you are going to be clearer to you. And I think that you're going to actually be able to speak to that in some way, help heal that issue within them on a spiritual level, which is God's work. And it's spiritual work. It's spiritual healing. And I'm not saying for you to do that as like rescuer, victim, persecutor kind of thing. Like, okay, now this is your job or whatever. But I just think your perspective and the mirror of you and your energy and your tolerance and your desire, but also ability to truly understand the world around you, to really try to understand what the truth is. Your dedication to that, God is truth, right? That is actually your dedication to God. And you actually have thrown over false idols. In doing this, you've actually done it because you're right in spirit, or you've been righted in this process. And it's freeing, it's liberating. And I feel like you have that to kind of, you've lit the way here for other people. And I think you're gonna realize you trusted the wrong people here, and possibly that you've been a person that was untrustworthy here. But how can you ever make it right if you don't acknowledge that? And if you don't fully explore that and go deep, not bludgeoning yourself, but you have to, because how are you ever gonna make this right with this other person? Or for their kind of people. There's some amends that needs to be made here. Amends. An amendment to your faith, an amendment to your approach. That is what mends here. But that internal change has to happen first. So there could have even been distance here for you to take some space and really contemplate. It's like this person has become your meditation. And again, I go back to seeing this person as a crystal. And you may have done this for them as well without even realizing it. It's this meditation on this person's energy, because things actually do feel a lot better when this person's around. So, and they go a lot smoother like when things are around. But I think there needs to be an admission that there was the wrong person and the wrong group and the wrong perspective trusted here. And they may have meant to mislead you, because they may have wanted power or control over your mind, or somebody here could benefit from this otherness between you and this other person. But also it could just be ignorance, like it could just be not I just heard, forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. Again, that like sacred heart energy. Sacred, that we are all kin kind of energy. So anyways, this has been a long reading, but I feel like this has also been a long process because some of you have been up in your head about this person. You've been processing their energy for a long period of time. And I'm just seeing you, at first I was seeing you run back and forth on this teeter-totter between their opposite traits, but now I'm seeing that spiral again where you're running past one of their opposite traits. You're going the circular way around to this other trait, back around. You're making a circle, which now I'm seeing the world card. It's integrated, it's whole, it's complete. And once you look at it from that perspective, boom. You got it. It's no longer the seesaw energy. And that's what actually, it deepens your understanding, but it elevates you. And that's the other thing too, because I'm seeing a tree now and there's one, I've been throwing a lot of quotes at you. Maybe one of you guys or this person likes quotes or you do. But there's a Carl Jung quote and he wrote the Red Book. He talks about shadow work, right? That's where we get that terminology. But he says, no tree can reach up to heaven if its roots do not reach down to hell. Because a tree has to have very, very deep roots in order for it to grow up very, very tall. This is the shadow work. This is like getting to the subconscious, getting to the nitty gritty. And that's where I'm seeing this spiral deepen now. I feel like there's an elevation in consciousness to match it. So that's what I have for you. If that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye, guys.